Now then, from €6.50 an hour to €8.50 an hour. Not a bad pay rise at all, and just one example of the effects of a legally binding minimum wage, which has finally been introduced in Germany. Now, eventually, 4 million Germans are set to benefit from it, perhaps seeing the country at the end of its position as low wage. Well, our correspondents have been to the state of Lower Saxony to see how it is being implemented. They also, though, uncover ways some companies are getting around it.
Since the 1st of January, Christian GROSCHKE has been a happy employee. The taxi driver from Oldenburg in Lower Saxony was given a historic pay rise. With the introduction of a minimum wage, he went from €6.50 to €8.50 an hour.
We could never really afford much. It used to be enough to get by, but now you can really see the difference. I think it's a good thing that the work we do is finally appreciated.
In Germany, about 4 million employees like Christian benefit from the new minimum wage. For their bosses, however, labour costs have gone up noticeably. So to cover the added expenses, taxi companies in Oldenburg took a drastic measure.
Our only option was to raise the prices of cab rides in Oldenburg significantly, by 17% to be precise. It really was the only way for us to be able to pay the minimum wage, but our customers accepted 100%.
Taxis, bakeries, restaurants, even flower shops. The prices of commodities have been soaring since the beginning of the year, just as they have for hairdressing. But in this salon, the customers don't complain.
It became necessary. Everyone used to be paid a standard wage, but that changed with everyone just trying to beat down the prices to avoid paying so much.
People aren't paid in a fair way, especially not in hairdressing. Everyone should have the right to earn what they're due.
Hairdressers indeed have come a long way. This manager had to deal with the competition from low-cost barbers, where wages could drop to less than €4 an hour. In his opinion, the new minimum wage will help to clean up the industry.
So-called discount hairdressers have been around for a long time, but now they won't be able to continue doing business as they used to. That's what I'm hoping. At least it will create a more transparent and a more equal market.
It is certainly a milestone, but there are still numerous flaws in the system. In Lower Saxony, a stronghold of the food industry, one only has to look at what goes on in slaughterhouses to see that not all is well. Some 25,000 people work in meat processing. Most of them are recruited abroad by subcontractors. Here in the town of Lohne, many foreign workers seek Paul Sandman's help and legal advice. Damian, for example, brought his payslip from January. On paper, he does earn the legal minimum of €8.50 an hour, but the numbers don't add up.
If someone works 8 hours a day, 23 days a month, that amounts to 160 or 170 hours a month on average. But here, on paper, is meant to have worked only 140 hours.
A fraudulent time tracking system, but also a limited contract renewed each year that doesn't give any guarantees.
When I asked them why the contract didn't mention how many days I would work each week, they told me not to worry and to sign it if I wanted to keep my job.
In the meat industry, inspections are still rare. Customs, who are supposed to oversee the introduction of the minimum wage, are short-staffed. Unions denounce a lack of political will, all the more since the government in Berlin is already talking about easing the constraints for employers.
A minimum wage only works if the number of working hours is recorded properly. But bosses put a huge pressure on their employees. They don't care about the law. It doesn't seem to bother anyone. Everything is done to keep profits high.
The introduction of a legally binding minimum wage is a major challenge to the German economic model, which has long prospered thanks in great part to low-income jobs. A hotline set up at the beginning of the year by the Ministry of Labour received 32,000 complaints from workers who are still underpaid.